Israel is in a position to attack Iran's nuclear facilities, but it's not in a position to destroy Iran's nuclear program. You need to have 30, 40 bombs in order to be able to do that. And Iran is many, many years away from it.
Israel has just said that they are going to retaliate.
Israel is waging war on multiple fronts. Gaza, Lebanon facing attacks from Iran, but there is a lot more going on behind the scenes. What you're seeing may not be the full story. In today's episode of First Things Fast, we're breaking down 5 things Israel is not telling you about this war. And we are basing this on exclusive insights from Middle East expert Professor Vali Nasr. While Israel is dealing with rocket fire from Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon, the elephant in the room is Iran. After Iran fired over 200 missiles, Israel's response was cautious. Why?
Although it wants to retaliate against Iran for the missile attack, it does not want to open a third front with Iran at the same time.
With Israeli forces already stretched thin across 2 war zones, opening up another front with a powerful adversary like Iran would risk overwhelming the military. Israel's silence on this is strategic. They know pushing too far could backfire. The missile attacks by Iran were not aimed at crippling Israel's military infrastructure. Instead, Iran's strategy was psychological warfare.
Their point was to say they have the will and the capability to hit Israel. Target audience here is not the Israeli military, is the Israeli people who previously thought that the Iron Dome provided 100% protection.
By bypassing Israel's famed Iron Dome defense system, Iran wanted to instill fear among civilians, shaking the confidence of the Israeli public. Now, this vulnerability is not something Israel wants to highlight. It's a chink in their otherwise impenetrable armor. There's a growing narrative in Israel that this conflict could provide an opportunity to take out Iran's nuclear capabilities, but this idea is far from realistic.
Israel is in a position to attack Iran's nuclear facilities, but it's not in a position to destroy Iran's nuclear program.
Iran's nuclear infrastructure is not easy to hit like Iraq's Osirak reactor was in the 1980s. Even if Israel does attack, Iran will scatter and hide its nuclear sites, taking them deeper underground beyond the reach of conventional weapons. This would only prolong the conflict, with Iran emerging even more defiant. It's not just Israel and Iran that would be impacted by this escalating conflict. Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE could become collateral damage.
The Gulf economies cannot be bystanders to a war. Already, Iran targeted air bases in Israel.
If Iran decides to retaliate further, American military bases in these Gulf countries would likely become targets. And because these Gulf states are economic powerhouses relying on peace for tourism, oil, and foreign investment, the ripple effects would be felt globally. Israel is not openly discussing this, but it's a huge risk for the region. If Israel pushes Iran into a corner, it could trigger an unintended consequence: nuclear proliferation across the Middle East.
If such an attack happened, the consequence would be that Iran would take its program deep underground and openly declare itself a nuclear state.
This would lead to a dangerous nuclear arms race, with countries like Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt racing to develop their own nuclear weapons. This is a strategic disaster for Israel, which has always held a monopoly on nuclear power in the region. Israel might feel emboldened to strike Iran's nuclear sites, but the long-term consequences would be disastrous for their security. Israel's immediate focus may be on Gaza and Lebanon, but the larger risks in the background are far more dangerous. From opening up a third front with Iran to destabilizing the Gulf region, to sparking a nuclear arms race, these are the hidden dangers that Israel is not addressing publicly. Understanding these risks is critical to predicting the next phase of this war.